All right. Um, Welcome to my first time vlogging my trading day. Let me get this situated. Okay, perfect. Let's just jump straight into what I'm seeing from the market so you guys can get a feel for how I trade and what type of things I look for. So, first things first, I'm going to be looking at the daily. I trade Nasdaq and the S&P 500, and I trade them in sync to look for SMTs. I trade smart money concepts, and so you guys will notice that fairly quickly. Um, Looking at news going into the day, Friday, April 20th. We have. I thought when I was looking at my phone, I saw more news. I guess. Oh, here we go. Let's get to this week actually, because it's not even. Why is it not giving me? There we go. Okay. I was a little bit curious because when I checked news yesterday, I saw that there was a little bit more than just orange folder news for Friday. But I got that all fixed. I had to refresh Forex Factory. But this is what I look at when I'm trying to look for news that's going to majorly impact my trading day. And so today being Friday, June 13th, I see that there's 10 a.m. news. Nothing that's like too crazy, but because there's two red folders, I'm probably going to be cautious and wait till 10 a.m. news. If news like this was something that happened at 8:30 or 9:50 or even a little bit later in the day, like at noon, I would not be deterred from trading for any reason for news like this. But just because it's 10 minutes after the macro when I'm willing to trade, I'm still going to just wait for that to pass just in case anything unexpected happens, just so we can get the highest probable trade in for today. So all right, just looking at the markets, we'll start looking at Nasdaq first. I see we've been on a steady climb up since April 25th, climbing up here. So we've been majorly bullish. So I want to see us come up and take out these highs just because I highly doubt, like if you look on a higher time frame, if you look on the weekly time frame, we've already invalidated this fair value gap here. We've inversed this fair value gap and price is still continuing higher. And so our close above this leads me to believe that our next target is going to be the February 18th highs. So if I keep that in mind, that we're really close to those highs, and I don't think ES has taken out those highs either. No, ES is also creeping up on those highs and is yet to take it. So definitely catching my eye. Looking in at the daily. Definitely catching my eye. So if I come in here and I start looking at the 4 hour, I will notice that we had a lot of, I think, unless this was already swept. Okay, this is swept. We have lows right here. I think equal lows actually. Yeah, so we have some equal lows right here, which is always an extremely strong draw on liquidity for me. Assuming unless ES had matched that. And swept that out. Okay, so ES had already swept this out. So we're looking at a bullish SMT right here. Boom, boom. Bullish SMT and relative equal lows. And that kind of gives me a little bit of a mixed bias because typically with my SMTs, I like to see this being up higher than this and not equal, because although SMT is really strong protection, um, it's also equal lows are very, very strong draws for me. So to hold that SMT is extremely strong of a confidence. It's just not, it's not how I like to do things. And so I'm still going to be very cautious with not just trying to fling anything long, seeing that, oh, this area is protected, because price could easily come down and sweep this out. But so that's what I noticed on the 4 hour. All right, let's see. I also notice we have a really big fair value gap right here that we are still within. So trading long out of this is going to be very risky to do until we break out of this, which that's a pretty big fair value gap. So we'll see if on the smaller time frame there's smaller fair value gaps within it. Um, Sorry, my camera's like, it's not mirroring me. It's the opposite of where I'm moving. So this is my right hand showing on the left screen. This is my left hand. And so each time I try to move to get in frame, it's like really throwing me off. I'll try to fix that at a later time. But for now, if you see me like trying to do this a lot, it's because I'm trying to center myself in frame and just not being able to. I see. Although that we have an SMT here and that's protected and I want to see up here, I do have to take note of the fact that we had just broke structure to the downside on the 4 hour. We have also disrespected a 4 hour fair value gap. And we are within a 4 hour fair value gap. So although I really want to see price come up here, I still think we have a little bit of moving down to go before we make our way up there. Either for NASDAQ to take out these lows, maybe sweep out these lows. I really think price is going to come from here, especially now that it's coming up and tapping equilibrium. One second. Tapping equilibrium of these swing highs to these swing lows. I see price staying in this area a little bit, and then as market starts to open, coming down here, doing one of these numbers. So somewhere from here to somewhere down here, and then eventually we make our way. Oh, come on, man. Making our way up there. That's where I see right now, just looking at high time frame without actually zooming in and seeing any lower time frame confluences. So if I go in on the hourly, I could see. Okay, so yeah, for us to get into equilibrium, we would also be, let's use a 4 hour. We're already within a 4 hour order block, which when it comes to order blocks, being in a higher time frame one isn't that huge of a confluence for me, because there's so much area to move around within that order block. So I'm looking at that like, yeah, that's good to know, but price isn't just going to tap in its order block and come down. It could easily come all the way up here, all the way over here. So I'm taking note of it, but as far as using it as like a real strong confluence for entries, that's not practical. And so looking down at the hourly, I see we have this fair value gap here, which catches my eye. We got this guy, fair value gap, and we have this guy, fair value gap. And so these are going to be, let me mark this as, that'll stay gray because it's the higher time frame. Okay. So these two fair value gaps I'm going to be taking strong note of to see smooth rejections out of, to probably target down here, either this equal low or right here. Let's see. What else do I see right here? Not a whole lot more going on the hourly. I'll get onto the 15-minute, and you'll see, okay, a really strong confluence for me is when I see a fair value gap on a higher time frame, and then when you zoom in, you see a very prominent high resting right below that fair value gap. Because if price came up to here, it would get it would balance out the liquidity from the fair value gap, and it would also be taking buy side liquidity to be able to move shorter. So that's just an extremely juicy area for price to want to target, and it often does. So I always like seeing a prominent high right below a fair value gap or a prominent high right above a fair value gap if you're going in the other direction. So I'm taking very deep note of that. I doubt price stops here with this being here. It would take a lot for me to enter off of this into shorts, but we'll see where it goes. It's also harder to enter when there's big sell-offs like this because we are in such a big, this whole gray area is all a fair value gap. So price could come here before retracing. It could come here before retracing. It could come up to here before retracing. It could even wick all the way up here and come. So finding an entry that you won't get stopped out of is a lot more difficult than if it was just this one fair value gap. But we'll try to do the best we can to work with this. It's also Friday, so it's the end of the week, so it's probably going to be a little bit of slower price action. So I'm not going to be looking for any too crazy trade entries. Once I go down to the 5 minute, that's when I mark out where my time I could start trading is. So today it's 10 a.m. is news. After that, and after news does its thing, I will be able to start looking for trades. I notice that here, there's a bit of a prominent high here that we did just sweep out. So if this taps up into this fair value gap on the, which one was this? Was this the hourly fair value gap? Yeah, if we could come up into this fair value gap and down out of it within the hour, then that would be really strong confidence for me to go short because we swept these prominent highs right here on the 5 minute coming up and then coming down. If we're able to inverse fair value gap one of these and then make a retracement in, that might be strong confluence for me to go short. So if we're able to very quickly come up here, and by the time price opens, we start to make legs down. I'll probably look on the 1 minute, see if there's a tighter fair value gap that could be inversed. But just something to imagine if there's a tighter fair value gap in here, we inverse that, retrace up, and then head down here. Then I will likely, after I see this, if it's a fair value gap, whatever it may be, probably target, and my trading day will look something like this if we're able to get an entry off this. But again, we have to just see what price does. We have to be reactive to price, not predictive to price. So I just have to see where it goes, and then I can make my decisions off of what price tells me. That's the biggest thing that I've been learning is no matter how much I cross my fingers, no matter how much I want price to go in a certain direction, if it doesn't want to go, it's just not going to go. And so I need to understand that in every trade, there's the possibility of my trade going in the other direction. There are no 100% traders. There's no 100% day traders. Everyone has their off days. Everyone could have the strongest confluence as possible. And then they will still have a day where the market decides to go in the other direction and stops you out. So although this looks pretty solid to be going down in this direction, I'm not going to take real quick entries to try to get the best risk reward because more often than not, when I do that, then I just end up getting stopped out. So it's not even worth it. So, all right, I'll resume this once price starts to get more towards 10 a.m. We're about 20 minutes out from there. I'm going to save some of my recording power for today, and I'll catch up with you guys. I'm going to do the same analysis I just did, but with ES, and I'll catch up with you guys at 10 a.m. when I'm ready to start taking trades. 5 minutes away from market open now. So in the time that I've been gone, price has came up and then back down, is now just now tapping this fair value gap, but we also swept right here these highs that were just below. For me, this is just as important as when we have a high like this and come up and sweep. It doesn't matter where this relative high is for it to come up and sweep. Just the fact that a high is made just before a fair value gap, and then we come down from that, and then we take a high and we fill a fair value gap, that's two great confluences in one right there. And so I believe my screen's been really laggy. Okay, we came up and took out equilibrium of those highs a long time. So we're up in a premium here, which is great. And I believe I could just eyeball and I could tell just from like these highs to these highs. We're in a premium here as well, which is great for finding shorts. If you notice as well, right here we did form a SMT. So from this high to this high goes from a lower high to a higher high on NASDAQ, whereas on the S&P from this high to this high, it forms a lower high. So this is a really strong protected zone now, especially because I've already tapped a fair value gap. Still going to be very cautious for today because it is Friday and price could go in any direction. Price could go up, but this isn't my strongest bias that I've had in the last couple of weeks. So I'm just going to be very cautious and keep that in mind. Looking down, and now that I know there's a SMT on ES, there's not really a whole lot of reasons to continue looking at ES for the day. I might under certain situations, but pretty confident that I'm not gonna. So price is a little bit choppy, but looking at the 1 minute, I can start to see, okay, we have this order block right here from those highs. We have, let's see, not a whole lot else if I'm being completely honest. 1 minute. Price is a little bit choppy. What I would like to see is price come up into this order block, form a fair value gap within here, and then disrespect that fair value gap. So let's say we right here, price made a big leg up and we formed a fair value gap. Okay. Once we disrespect, I will most likely, assuming there's also a break of structure, and maybe even without, I will most likely come into this order block and then coming out and disrespecting a fair value gap. That'll probably be enough for me to look for shorts. Probably since it's Friday, price is probably going to be moving a little bit slower. I'm not going to target all the way down here where I'm pretty sure price will reach to, because I don't know if it'll reach there today. Likely, if we came down, I'd put, let's see, here. What does that look like? 1.93. Assuming front of fair value gap, and this is. Our trade would probably look something like this. Okay. So right now I'll just paper trade this. So you could see we did come up and tap this. There is a fair value gap right here. We're gonna have to act quick on this. Right here is the fair value gap. If we come up here and we disrespect this, and even better if we could close below this low, that'll give me really strong confluence to take a short. Let's see. Okay. If we could close beneath this and take this, I'll set up a limit order right now in preparation. Let's do a reasonable. Let's say I would really usually, so I'd probably risk 500. If this was my funded account. Okay, we'll go with nine contracts. If this hits. So right now this fair value gap is being respected. If price takes off to the upside, then that's just it for the day, and trades will not be taken. But if we manage to close down here, okay, yep. The only scary thing is because of this extension, we could just be going down to equilibrium and then retesting. But because of our higher time frame, I'm pretty confident we come down to these lows. So if not, then that's probably why, and that's what I'll reevaluate for the day. Okay, we're selling. Close beneath that. Sell position in here. Let's put our stops up above these highs. Modify. Take profit down to here. Let's just see where price takes us. Oh, if I get stopped out immediately, I'll cry. Right now, we're just chopping at the entry point. Well, chopping into drawdown. So price are being pretty volatile. So just as easily as it could swing up and hit my stop loss, it could swing down and go towards my take profit. So as far as being emotional goes, I mean, I've already entered my trade. Helps a little bit that this isn't even real money, but even when it is real money, I've gotten pretty good about it is what it is. If I wasn't confident about the trade, I shouldn't have entered it. So if it hits my stop loss, then that's a good learning experience and I have something to take away for next time. If it's my take profit, also a good learning experience. And this is all just data collection. None of this, I'm not getting any bills in my hands regardless of which line this touches. It's all just data collection and learning stuff. So when I see people early on that freak out, move their stop loss, move their take profit, one, shouldn't have gotten the trade if you weren't confident, and two, even if you win this, there's no money coming out of it. So where's the worry come from? How do you expect to manage in the future thousands of dollars if you can't even imagine fake numbers going up and down on a screen? It's pointless. So we're just data collecting. All right. Well, that's my trade for the day, boys. Um, 3.55 risk reward. Um, you could watch back this video if you want to know my analysis for why I thought price was going in this direction. Um, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. I work from Monday through Thursday, so I trade, but I trade from my phone, and I'm not able to sit down and do these overviews with you guys like I was able to do today. That's going to be every Friday that I'm able to do that. But yeah, pretty good trading day, pretty good patience. Um, yeah, not much more to say. I'll catch you guys in the next one.